The Wrestling Takeover has begun. It's Russ, Mccall, Dennis, Farrell, Wrestling Perspective, powered by BlueChew.com. Go to Blue Chew. Use the promo code Perspective. It's the lifeblood of the show. I don't care, Russ, if they use it or not. Just go there, use the promo code. Keep us on your radio airwaves.
It'd be a real generous thing for you to do.
Yeah, basically. So if you love wrestling, you love talking wrestling, and you love being,
us.
Yeah, I love being you.
Yeah, that's the most important part.
Then go to Blue Chew, use the promo code, keep us on the air, because we're the only place you can listen to wrestling if you don't have XM radio.
Best place to get it right here. Better than XM.
Right here on 107 radio markets all over the United States. Whether you're listening live or podcast over at WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com, you can listen to Russ and I there. If you missed any bit of the show, you can also listen to P.D. Williams, Impact Wrestling's own, and myself. We do a podcast over there. A lot of great guys. But, it all starts and ends with BlueChew.com. Use the promo code Perspective. Russ, what'd you think of Elimination Chamber?
I really enjoyed the pay-per-view. I thought it was a good show.
You know what? I shockingly, I agree. The last of the few Elimination Chambers have been duds. And I'll be honest, and maybe this is something you might want to jot down in your notes for a little bit later, but I have a very unpopular opinion. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay, I
didn't know. Yep.
I'm
in bated heels waiting for you.
Kofi Kingston did not deserve a WWE Championship, nor does he in the road to WrestleMania or post-WrestleMania.
Wow, interesting. We're going to have to talk about this a little later. For sure.
And here's the cornerstone, the backbone even of my argument. A week before this, nobody even cared what Kofi Kingston was doing. And then all of a sudden, an injury to Mustafa Ali, and everybody's like, oh, we remember Kofi Kingston? That's not buzz. It just seemed like they threw him in, and then the crowd's like, whoa, he deserves it. Well, where were you guys 1 year, 2 years, 3 years ago? It's not like Rusev and Rusev Day, where every night he went out there and the crowd loved him. This is a 1 week buzz, and that's not championship deserving.
I've got an interesting take on that, though, where I think it does pan in and that he should have it. But we'll get into that a little bit later. I'm going to give you my unpopular opinion, though, real quick. I don't like the Elimination Chamber matches.
Okay, we can talk about this, because here in a minute we're going to go into our news segment. And then after the news segment, then we're going to deep dive into a couple topics. You're listening to Wrestling Perspective. Like I said, you missed any part of it, go to WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com. Subscribe. When Russ and I can come back, I guess, we will be talking some Elimination Chamber, Road to WrestleMania, Kofi Kingston, Becky Lynch, Nia Jax. I mean, we're going to be talking about a ton of people, so stay tuned. Be part of the show. Wrestling Perspective will be right back. Welcome back. Russ Mccall, Dennis Farrell, talking wrestling here on the Wrestling Perspective. Don't forget, we're powered by BlueChew.com. Use the promo code Perspective. Get your Blue Chew. Russ, I don't care what they do with it. Just do it because it keeps us on the radio, and I like kind of being famous.
I do too. I think it's fun, and I think it's the right thing to do.
That's right. So go to BlueChew.com. Use the promo code Perspective. Get your free order. It's a gift from Russ and I that we want to give to you for free.
And if there's any gift we can give you, Blue Chew's the one.
It's the gift of love.
That's right.
All right, Russ, it's a news segment. What do you got?
So let's talk about the road to WrestleMania, Dennis.
All right.
First of all, let's just touch back on that Kofi Kingston thing we talked about a few minutes ago.
You're not a big fan of my opinions.
I'm not.
And by the way, if you missed it, you can go back and listen to it on demand at WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com.
Yep. So I think I got 2 points I want to talk about here. First of all, Kofi Kingston's proved in the past, maybe 7-8 years ago, that he had what it took to hold up a main event feud. He feuded with Randy Orton, got over huge, and they just cut him. They cut the feud, they cut his momentum, and they plopped him down into the New Day, where he's been a talented mid-card tag team act ever since, right?
Right.
That's the Kofi Kingston most fans today know.
Right.
He reminded us in the last 7 days what he had in the tank. Now, it's his job to get over with the fans, and he did it. It's their job to find out what's hot and run with it. And the fact of the matter is, whether it's a 7-day streak or not, he was the hottest thing on that brand. He's the hottest thing on both brands outside of Becky Lynch at the time being. And maybe he fizzles, but run while you have a chance.
I totally disagree. I could not disagree with you more. If there's a disagree with you more meter, it'd be topping out. Kofi Kingston got in there because of Mustafa Ali's injury.
Correct.
It wasn't like, hey, Kofi Kingston's hot. Let's create an injury to swap him out. Which tells me, what was Kofi Kingston? He wouldn't have been on the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view to begin with.
You're right. He wouldn't have
There
been.
was no buzz. He's a comic act right now. And sure, he's reminded us what he's been doing and how good he is. But that's fake buzz, man. That is not a great buildup. And the fans jumped on it like, hey, oh, yeah, that's great. We still remember him. But are the fans still going to treat him this way in 2 more weeks? I think it's going to fade away.
I don't know if it will or not, but the fact of the matter is he went in there giving a random chance, like you said, filling in somebody's role.
He did great. I'm not going to argue with
him. He capitalized on an opportunity.
Yep.
He got the fans behind him.
Yeah.
And as long as the fans are behind him, why not run with it?
That's
something we've been complaining about. The whole wrestling world has been complaining about for years about WWE, is they pick who they want, regardless of what the fans are saying. The fans are telling them something, even in a short period of time. Why not let them? If they're going to run with it, why not let them?
You know what? It doesn't do him any good to just give him the belt. And here's why. There's no build for him. There's no storylines. There's nothing going on. There's nothing worse than giving a guy a belt who deserves it and have nothing for him. How many times have we seen that?
No, I don't disagree there.
And that's what would have happened.
But I'm not saying give him the belt. I'm saying give him the main event run. Give him his shot. Let him have a good showing at Fastlane.
And I'm okay with the Fastlane thing. I'm okay with that because you just need something to get Daniel Bryan over into WrestleMania.
Correct.
And Kofi, as talented as Kofi is, he does not deserve to have the belt. I'm sorry. He just doesn't.
I agree. And 2 weeks isn't going to show us much.
I would rather see Big E make a championship run than Kofi Kingston.
Interesting. I'd be okay either way. I'd be interested to see what they have available and what they can do. But I think both guys are talented guys. I don't think in a 2-week span you're going to be prepping a guy for his world title run.
I think
I think you can get somebody hot enough to be a solid challenger and see if that allows him to lead into something more.
All right. What else?
Let's talk about Daniel Bryan's actual rumored challenger for WrestleMania.
And who is that?
Kevin Owens.
Are you okay with this? Because I'm not a big fan of where they're going with Kevin Owens right now. Have you seen the promos?
I have. I don't like them. And frankly, even if it wasn't for the promos, I don't know that I'd be all that big of a fan of Kevin Owens being in that spot either way.
Here's my issue. It came out this week or last week or one of the weeks how they're trying to build Daniel Bryan up to be this lovable loser guy. You know, in one of the promos, he threw a gutter ball. Then the one we saw this week, I think he dropped his phone in a movie theater, talking about how he's been working hard and he's eating handfuls of popcorn. I don't like this direction they're going with Kevin Owens. He's worked so hard to be an over guy, and now you're going to turn him into a losing joke. I'm not a fan of that.
Not only am I not a fan of it for the character, I'm not a fan of it for your world title program at WrestleMania.
Aren't they already doing that with like Kurt Hawkins?
Yeah,
I mean,
Hawkins and Ryder are already doing the same thing and losing. So, how do you plan on justifying a world title run?
Kevin Owens deserves so much better. He really does. And I get that he's coming back from an injury. It would have been great if they would have had him out there doing the Kevin Owens show or doing some promo spots and then building something from there. But just to bring him back and have him lose matches because he slipped on a rope or, tripped over a banana peel or done something stupid, I just don't want to see that for him.
No, and I'd like to tell you that I'm kind of surprised that they're going this route. But if you really think back the last 12 months on how Kevin Owens was booked, it's right in line with the other terrible decisions they've made for him.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a giant. They're wasting his talent.
They made fun of him for being a bigger guy, so much so they ribbed him with putting his face on the walk Titantron. That when he was doing the United States champion, that was a rib on him.
Yeah,
and a lot of people don't understand that. And he turned it back around by refusing to walk over his face. That was probably I don't know if people picked that up. I don't like how they've treated him, and I really think I think he should be Daniel Bryan. I think I like the Daniel Bryan character right now. But Kevin Owens coming back, I want to see the Kevin Owens who beat John Cena in his debut. That's what I want to see.
Same here. The idea that they had going that showed glimpses of it at times of him being this hard-nosed killer in the ring, but he's a hard-nosed killer because he's doing this for his family. He's a family man. He's a good guy. But when he's in the ring, business is business. I'm here to prove a point and make a check. It's not malicious, but I got to do what I got to do.
No, I like it.
I think that would be a phenomenal angle for him.
Again, bring it back. But
absolutely. And I think, this shows a bigger problem. The fact that you're reaching out to Kevin Owens, who you're finding tricks like this in order to get somebody ready for WrestleMania. To me, it's another point of why I don't like the Elimination Chamber being so close to Mania, specifically if the champion's in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's fighting every challenger possible already the month before. So you're either having to dig in, start something cold, fresh with a month left, or you're rehashing something we just watched half of last month.
Now, the only way I would disagree is some sort of inside storytelling in that match where, Daniel Bryan's in there, and let's say there was a Mustafa Ali. I don't want to go back to him, but he was a newcomer, and he came really close to pinning him, and then he gets screwed somehow. Then you can kind of build off a moment, but it has to be a real interesting moment between, I couldn't see it with anybody else other than Mustafa because he's fresh and you haven't seen him in that position.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have bought it if it was any of the other guys in there. Maybe Kofi. And they're doing it with Kofi a little bit. Once again, I don't totally agree with it. But Kofi only is going to last till Fastlane. And then he's going back to mid-card.
So let me ask you this. Would you rather see Kofi Kingston hold off and then build him between now and WrestleMania for a WrestleMania spot? To have a fresh challenger there? Or what they're doing with Owens and Owens taking that position?
I want to see him get screwed by Owens and Owens steal that position from him if I'm booking this. And then after WrestleMania, you can start fresh with Kofi and Daniel Bryan or Kofi and Kevin Owens, depending on how that finish at WrestleMania ends to keep it. But
So you're thinking heel versus heel at Mania?
Well, I maybe it
depends
on.
It
depends on what kind of person Kevin Owens is. Because right now he's kind of being billed as a lovable loser.
He is, and that's a face role though. But if he's stealing the spot from Kofi,
who knows?
Screwing him over, right?
When we come back, we're definitely going to talk more about this. I'm really getting into it. I enjoy this. You're listening to Wrestling Perspective. If you missed any of this, go to WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com. You get this and another podcast with PD Williams and myself, Wrestling Perspective, heard on over 100 radio stations all over the United States. Help keep us going. Keep listening. Subscribe. When we come back, we're going to talk NXT Dead Weight. Wrestling Perspective back on the air. Russ Mccall, Dennis Farrell, talking WWE, ECW, WCW, anything that's relevant still. Here
we are. Let's talk about NXT then.
Yeah, listen. That joke got over just as good as any of the NXT bring-ups they had this week. And oh my gosh, I don't know if you blame WWE or you blame Lafayette, Louisiana, but everything just seemed horrible with these NXT call-ups. It was Ricochet,
Aleister Black,
and
Ciampa and Gargano.
Yeah, but now is Ricochet. Let's start with who's the call-ups, because I know Gargano lost his belt, right?
Yep, he just on this past week on this Wednesday,
which maybe signifies him being brought up.
I would assume so.
But
Ciampa's still out there with the title.
So he can't be called up unless he vacates it.
And it does kind of seem like they're building them as a team again.
It would definitely. I mean, they made their debut as a tag team, which was stupid. I love the fact that they came out with the belts and as champions. I like the fact that they just beat, the Raw Tag Team Champions, which sucks if you're the Revival because you fought so hard.
And 1 week after your big win, you job out to the new guys.
Yes. Who may or may not be called up. I don't even know, because they did the worst job storytelling on even trying to bring them up. It seemed like, I'm sitting at my desk on Monday and all of a sudden it's like, hey, guess who's backstage? No build up. If you're not on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, you would never have known what was going on.
No. I mean, honestly, they're bringing really felt like like a carnival or like a circus barker. He's fun, he's flashy, he's got flips. It's Ricochet.
You're right.
That was it. It's like a quick little video. Some funny, flashy words to say he's cool. You should probably check his match out later. Like you have a choice. You're in the crowd.
But we're gonna put him in a throwaway tag team match. By the way, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is how important Ricochet is, and the same thing is this is how important. This is a prime example. Somebody asked me if I ever thought NXT would be bigger than Raw or SmackDown, and no, because the prime example right here of WWE burying NXT to make Raw and SmackDown better. You bring 4 out of 5 of your hottest commodities up to zero fanfare. That makes NXT look bad, not anything else.
No, yeah, they plugged him in just like they had been there the whole time.
Yeah,
and it made zero sense. There was no interest in them.
No, it was horrible. I could not believe it. And the fanfare, like they don't know who these guys are. The crowd all night long was lame and weak.
But I put that on WWE. If it was,
I do too.
If they had brought them in hot, it would have been a different thing. But remembering they brought 4 guys in cold,
right,
onto a show that forever now is a cold show. Raw is a cold, long show, more weeks than not.
I agree.
And you took that format and you plugged 4 guys in with zero fanfare and cooled off the hottest 4 acts you had in the entire company.
Not to mention what you've done with the call-ups you had a few weeks earlier, EC3, who, anywhere else would be holding a title right now. You have him job out to Dean Ambrose, by the way, who jobs out,
next night, next week in 3 minutes.
It's ridiculous.
EC3 is nowhere to be seen.
Nowhere to be seen.
Heavy Machinery comes out, does a Bushwhackers impression, and walks away.
You know what? If there is a tag team, now I don't want to wish ill will on anybody, okay? But hear me out. If there was a tag team that maybe hit the lottery and I never had to see it again, I would want that. If there was a tag team that maybe had contracted a non-lethal STD that I would never, because it couldn't compete in some states, I'd be okay with that.
You know who they remind me of, Dennis? Because I know we're both old school WCW fans growing up,
yes,
right?
Russ. Do
you remember on watching back, and if you don't remember this, I want you to get on your Google and Google them. Do you remember Disorderly Conduct?
I do.
From Saturday night.
Yes.
Goofy dudes in purple outfits who jobbed out every week. They remind me. I see Heavy Machinery, and I think Disorderly Conduct.
There's no way. I don't want to say this because I think they'll win a tag team championship once.
God, I hope not.
But
God, I hope not.
You know what? If there was a Saturday night, they should be there. And
jobbing.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of them. I think it's a cute character that's based or aimed towards kids. But for me, I don't want to see somebody ripping off nostalgic acts like the Bushwhackers and then doing the Worm, and
because they weren't even a good act.
No.
You're not ripping off a good act. You're ripping off a terrible act.
Well, Bushwhackers are okay. I'll fight you about that.
Yeah, we'll disagree like Kofi on that one.
It's Too Cool and all those guys I was a big fan of.
I wasn't a fan of them either.
So,
but
man, there could have been so many things you could have done different. There was no surprise. Man, Aleister Black, there should have been a match going on. And then, boom, the lights went out, and these candles came up.
And he just cleared ring.
Yes. That's how I would have done that.
That Ryder-Hawkins match, first of all, they shouldn't have been against another face tag team. That was dumb.
Does anybody even care?
It was just dumb booking. Yeah. But anyway, that match would have been a perfect time for Aleister to come up and just clear the ring of 4 or 5 dudes.
It would have been great. He could have done it and believable, and you would have cemented him as a tough guy.
Well, that's it. And then even if you want a minor story there, right? They're trying to build up Hawkins and Ryder that eventually they're going to get this big win. They're so close to the win, and then boom, Aleister comes in, costs them just in the nick of time, beats everybody out.
You could have done maybe another NXT group. I'm not so sure I'm saying that out loud now. I liked it.
No.
But Ricochet should have came out as like... I'm trying to think of, because the Ricochet's music hit for like 3 seconds. I remember watching it going, is that Ricochet? And the music hit and then cut off just as quick as it came on.
It did.
And he came out, and there was no build-up, no fanfare, no, who is this? They should have been beating him up. Maybe even, I don't want to go back to the lights out and then boom, Ricochet. But you know what? They should have hit the music, and everybody stopped and looked around, and then boom, the Titantron would say Ricochet.
Absolutely.
There was no build-up. They buried him from moment one. It was sad. Even, like I said, Gargano, I really thought those two guys coming out, whether, you're rebuilding this tag team with them or not, which...
They should have been hesitant to team together, for one. And they weren't.
No, you know what? I won't say that. Here's what I think. If you're bringing these two guys up, I would love to have seen one of them walk out with a belt that night. Now, hear me out.
Okay.
I think it would have been...
Can I tell you who I think it should be?
Who?
Ciampa.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think he should have came out and won the Intercontinental Championship.
I agree.
And maybe with the help of Gargano, I would have been okay with that. And then he had a decision to make. Or he tried to do both shows, and then someone...
I wouldn't even had him do both shows. I think you would have been a great heel development for him if... After all this time of him talking up Goldie, it's the most important thing in his life. Goldie. He wins the Intercontinental title. He's like, all right, you can have Goldie back. I got another one.
I liked it.
Right? He's just like,
that's
turns
genius.
On the NXT title that fast the minute he's got something else available.
That's pretty genius.
It would have been perfect.
Russ, I hate you because that's a good idea. Now that I hate you because of that.
Yeah, I would have loved to see that.
Do you know what should happen? Thomas should take the belt, right?
Yeah.
And then throw Goldie away. Like he doesn't even want it anymore.
Didn't even matter.
Yeah.
Just drop it down to the side.
Yeah.
Start hugging the new one.
Yeah. I'm just regurgitating what you just said to make it my idea now. Dude, I love my idea.
It is funny. I'm glad you thought of it.
Man.
Brilliant, really.
You know what? Why are you here for?
I don't know. I don't provide any kind of value or content here.
So is the lesson to be learned is I think it's just too many people. If I'm an NXT guy and I'm a top guy in NXT, I don't want to go to the main roster anywhere.
No, I don't want to go up to begin with.
It's a death sentence right now for these guys.
Yeah. And honestly, I'd have reservations the minute I saw 3 other guys from the same brand I'm coming from. They're the same night anyway.
Without any pop, anything.
And there's too many surprises, too many debuts in one night to give anyone a chance to get over at that speed.
You're barely getting EC3 over. Barely.
They're not. They're not getting EC3.
And he should, I think you'll start seeing now, these superstars not wanting to go to WWE. Maybe NXT, but not anything else. Because I think NXT, I don't think it'll be a hotter brand, but it's, you're over with a small group of people who desperately love NXT. And, if people could make NXT a career, I think no one would go to the main roster.
If they could make the main roster money in NXT, I think you're right. I think at the end of the day, though, they're still looking for a paycheck. They're still trying to feed their families and pay their mortgage. You're not going to do that off NXT money.
Is the time coming where they need to start doing NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown? Because
I hope not.
I don't hope not.
Because here's why I say I hope not. Because Triple H runs that completely separately.
Right.
Anything that touches Raw in any way, which makes SmackDown in that realm, becomes Vince's property.
I agree.
Vince's way of doing things, which means whatever's going on in NXT is going to have to conform to whatever Vince wants in order to compete in that same realm.
I agree with that. But I think from bragging rights, if you had to rank the properties right now, it'd be NXT, SmackDown, then Raw.
100%.
There we go. Anything else that you think they should have done differently on Monday night with these guys?
Not that I think should have been done differently, but I do feel like one key, you brought up Ricochet.
Yep.
Something stuck out to me watching him in that ring and watching him on the halftime heat. And much as I love Tommaso Ciampa and I love Johnny Gargano, they're probably my favorite characters on NXT. I see Ricochet and I see Face of the Company. I see he's a guy who has the ability to be the new face. He's a likable guy. He's athletic as can be. He's going to draw in casual fans.
All right, hold that thought, because when we come back, we can touch on this. We still have some Becky Lynch stuff we need to get to. If you missed any bit of this radio show and you want to hear more wrestling talk, go to WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com. When we come back, Becky Lynch, more NXT talk, Wrestling Perspective. We'll be right back. That's right, powered by BlueChew.com. Go to BlueChew.com. Use the promo code Perspective. Keep the wrestling perspective on the air. Russ Mccall, Dennis Farrell here, enjoying your weekend. Road to WrestleMania. And Russ, part of the Road to WrestleMania is the Hall of Fame inductees.
Yes.
I want to touch on the DX and Chyna thing here in a second, but I got to ask you. I saw the rumors out there. I hope it's not true. I hope I was fooled by fake news and an internet hoax.
Okay.
Michael Cole? Did you see that there? I don't know if I was hoodwinked, but I saw, like there was a rumor that Michael Cole might be the next name brought up as an inductee.
I have not seen that. That is total news to me right now.
Is Michael Cole a Hall of Famer? Honestly,
no.
I don't know, because longevity-wise, he's
fine.
been there forever.
But doing a job for a long time and doing it well and being liked. The job of the announcer is not just to call the match. The job of the announcer is to be the voice of the product, to be a voice that the fans trust and the fans rely on to further the product and get them developed and into the characters.
Okay.
As far as that goes, he has failed miserably. He is a terrible announcer on that front. Can he call a match? Sure. But he's not doing the outside of calling basic moves. He's not doing anything worth getting the fans invested.
As a second and third guy, I always thought he was good. Not great, but good. As the lead man, I wasn't a big fan of. And it really lost me a few years ago when they did this feud with, what was it, him and Lawler, and he was trying to wrestle, and they tried to make him into this mega heel. I don't blame him for that. I think WWE came to him and said, "You're going to do this," and he's like, okay.
I've also heard stories that he's kind of obnoxious.
I believe it.
In real life,
I
that was
100% believe
a rib and a hoodwink on him because he kind of acts like that in real life.
I believe that if I was in the same room with Michael Cole, I would punch him in the face.
Yeah,
that's that. Other than that, he's not. Other than longevity, you're right. He doesn't scream Hall of Famer to me. I can't wait until he goes. There's the rumors that he's leaving. Whether I think we're still a few years away from this, but I don't know what Michael Cole would do outside of the WWE.
Well, he's been producing the other announcers. I know he's Todd Grisham, Mauro Ranallo, even working on some of those areas in the back. So when he's not live on Raw, he is producing talent in other ways, and I'm sure he would probably continue some kind of role that way.
I don't know.
But I don't know if it's
just
necessary.
Burp on the air?
I did.
Wow, that's classy.
It is.
You are one classy dame. I'm going to tell you. Woof.
Just burp back up my blue chip.
There it is. Way to go there. DX being inducted. I think this is horse dookie. And here's why. Chyna deserves to be in the Hall of Fame by herself first and foremost. I think this is WWE's way, and don't get me wrong, DX deserves to go in, but I think more than anything, this is WWE's way of testing the waters to see what Chyna's fan interaction is, and the fans all want her in. It's politics that's keeping her out, inner office politics. Nobody cares that she did adult videos. I don't care. I don't think it should be held against her.
I think 8 years ago, it would have mattered a lot. I think in 2019, I don't think it matters.
No.
But I think I think you're right. She does deserve to go in on her own.
Absolutely.
Specifically for the role she played in developing the women's role in modern WWE today.
Not just the women's role, but what she did in a male-dominated industry, wrestling against males.
Absolutely.
She was an intercontinental champion, for God's sakes.
And the success that she had, they've tried to recreate over and over again, whether it was Beth Phoenix, Awesome Kong when she was there.
Karma.
Karma. Again, currently with Nia Jax.
Yes.
And failed. Nobody had the same kind of success that she has, and she deserves to be put over. But the fact of the matter is they're not going to put her in because of the pornographic films and some of the other politic items that they've got
the
going
relationship with Triple H, and then Stephanie.
They're probably a little leery about putting her in and putting a spotlight on her. So they get her in, get her the recognition. They're getting her the recognition she needs,
but not deserves.
But they're doing it in a sly way where they don't put the full focus on her.
Who inducts DX?
That's a great question. I've been racking my brain on that.
It's got to be Vince.
Yeah, Vince or Shane.
I know Vince. I think it's Vince.
But I don't know if Vince is going to do it. Vince has tried to stay away from the Hall of Fame and being out on camera on that.
I get it, but
as much as he could.
DX would not have been DX if it wasn't for Vince McMahon. Same thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin. We both agree endlessly. The greatest heel of all time is Vince McMahon. Sure. Look at the characters that have been based and grew off of him. DX, when you think...
When you think DX off of the last incarnation of DX, which was the clown car cartoon character DX, that's when they really feuded with Vince. I mean, their majority of their feud was with the Nation of Domination.
Well, in the corporate ministry.
In the corporate ministry. And then you had Shawn Michaels' feud with Bret Hart, prior to that. But you've got two separate distinct eras. Three, really, if you count the clown car episodes.
Right.
But there's no one that besides... that really sticks out as a common thread, except, Vince, you're right. This is the only one that was really a direct challenge to them.
During the Attitude Era.
A shoddy time.
Yeah, during the Attitude Era, Vince McMahon really helped get them over because they were rule breakers. And Vince hated that in the TV stuff. But
was Vince really doing that? That was more Sergeant Slaughter out there at that time.
I think Vince was with him, though.
A few times.
You're right. After the Montreal screw job, when he became the owner of the company, it was really DX challenging his authority. And you really saw them become, D-Generation X.
Yeah, if he's willing to do it, I think he's the best choice.
Outside of that, who would it be?
I don't know. They said maybe Shane. He was kind of involved in the DX feud too, and that's an option. But really, you're talking family at this point. Because
would it be Stephanie?
I hope not. I'm
just because I know they're married, and I get that. But wasn't another really pivotal point that whole Triple H marrying Stephanie McMahon angle?
I felt like that was kind of the tail of the main DX angle.
Okay.
I don't know. I felt like that was the conclusion almost of DX. That Triple H was elevated above them.
Yeah.
And the rest were kind of left behind at that point.
It can't be any of the other members.
No. They're all going in together.
Right. But let's see here. Is X-Pac a Hall of Famer?
I don't think so.
So X-Pac and Chyna might be, and Road Dogg and...
Well, let me throw out another idea.
Okay.
What about Hall or Nash?
No. Because they're not... Outside of the whole clique thing, when I think of D-Generation X, I don't think of Hall and Nash. They were the clique at that point. They were not D-Generation X.
No, but they are close enough friends that people would buy them inducting the group. When they had that Raw from the Manhattan Center not long ago.
Yeah, I get all that stuff, and they all came out and hugged.
In their minds, it's one giant party, right?
It doesn't do anything for me. I've seen Hall and Nash the last couple of years, and it seems like they all induct each other, and they're all right there, and I get it that they're friends.
Boys Club like they were back in the day.
But we need something else. We need a fresh voice. And when I think of Hall of Fame inductions and whoever inducts, I don't care all that much, let's be honest. I've never watched the Hall of Fame live. I'll be honest with you. I've got other things to do. And normally WrestleMania weekend, you're there.
Yeah.
So you're not watching it.
No.
And I don't care enough to watch it live because there's other things I want to be doing than watching somebody. And by the way, you look at the names that have been left out of the Hall of Fame. You really need to induct like Shawn Michaels for the fourth time because he was part of this group and that group and this group. Ric Flair once again. And by the way, we really got to get to this Ric Flair thing. We're running out. Let's pivot to Ric Flair because we've got a few more minutes in this segment, and then maybe we can roll over into our last segment here and talk about it. Ric Flair's birthday party coming up. Atlanta, Georgia, 70 years old. We're both shocked he lived this long, right?
Oh, absolutely. No one expected that.
This, to me, screams setup for Becky Lynch. Remember Brock Lesnar coming out for Hulk Hogan's birthday party?
I do.
This is what it's going to be. Charlotte Flair is involved in a major angle with her. Why wouldn't she?
Maybe she crashes the party and gets into a brawl with Charlotte.
Has to.
I just can't see her interacting with Rick in any kind of way.
Oh, look, Rick's been cleared. Rick's been cleared to take bumps.
Yeah, Rick's been trying to take a bump for a long time.
So Rick's been cleared.
It's not that that's not a possibility as far as physically.
Right.
The issue comes in Ric Flair is a popular figure. He's going to be in his new hometown in front of everyone.
Every hometown is his hometown.
He's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia.
Welcome to Dallas, the hometown of Ric Flair.
Well, no, he was Charlotte, and then now Atlanta. I think there's probably some laws that he's not allowed back in Charlotte or something. I thought I heard something with a divorce.
I believe it. He lost.
I think that's legit, honestly. At least was for a while. So he's in Atlanta.
Hearsay, by the way. Hearsay.
Yeah, hearsay. He's in Atlanta. It's his hometown. He's a popular figure. Becky Lynch is still a babyface. She's the most popular babyface you've got. I don't see her going after Ric Flair. If maybe Charlotte starts to run down her dad a little bit. They touched that a little bit before. You're taking up my time, Dad. This is my time now. And Becky comes out, attacks Charlotte. Maybe something like that. I don't see her going after Rick.
All right. I kind of agree a little bit there. But I think as much as we say that she's a babyface, they want her to be the heel.
I don't think so.
I
don't think so at all.
The crowd loves her. They want her to be, and I hate the comparison to Stone Cold Steve Austin because I want her to be her own person.
Yeah.
I truly believe that they want her to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. And you know what Stone Cold Steve Austin would have done? He would have gone out there, whether the fans loved him or hate him, and gave Ric Flair a stunner. The crowd would have cheered him. He would have flipped him off. He'd have opened up a couple beers. The crowd would have loved him. And he's still a babyface.
But she's not there yet.
She's getting there.
She's close, but
now,
she's not there
she
yet.
needs to drop that fake knee injury.
For sure.
Yeah.
She's not going out there whipping men with a knee injury.
But I think, they've been testing this waters. Every once in a while you see a little female interaction with males. Now, you haven't seen it on TV because you can see a woman touch a man.
But not vice versa.
Right. So I think this is the perfect way. This is it for me. I think this is it. I think this is what you're going to see. And happy birthday, Rick.
You think she's going to go after Rick?
I definitely.
I don't. I think she's got to Charlotte.
I hope it's not Charlotte. I think
a brawl with Charlotte will interrupt the birthday party, and it'll be a big pull apart where legends are pulling the two of them apart.
I would be okay but I don't want to see Charlotte run down her dad. Their family. I would rather see her dad turn heel with Charlotte.
Even if she doesn't run down her dad, if Becky just interrupts the party and tackles Charlotte, then you've got all the legends that'll be in the ring,
right,
pulling them apart, holding them apart, and you got a visual of these two women who are building up as the hottest acts they've got in the hottest feud with all of these legends in the intermix. It's a great visual.
Do we see Hulk Hogan in the ring during his birthday party?
There's a good chance, yeah.
There's
a good chance of it, yeah.
All right.
Him and Flair are pretty entwined over the last 25 years.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Because it should be Steamboat and Flair.
Absolutely.
Instead, it's Flair and Hogan, and I don't care.
Yeah.
Outside of, what was it, 93? When we should have seen them face off
92?
against 92.
90, yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this, though.
Hold that thought.
Yep.
When we come back from break, we'll get to your thought. We're teasing it. You're listening to Wrestling Perspective. If you missed any part of the radio show, heard in 100 radio markets, feel free to go to WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com, subscribe to the show. Russ Mccall, Dennis Farrell. We'll be right back. Russ Mccall, Dennis Farrell, back talking wrestling. What a great show we've had already.
Oh, it's been a fantastic show tonight.
I missed you. I love doing this. You were not here last week. Matt Taven, real Ring of Honor champion, filled in for you.
He did the best he could, let's be honest. And I appreciate it, Matt. You really did try. It was a great chance. But don't worry, guys. I'm back, and you won't have to miss me again.
Thank you, Matt Taven, for taking time out to doing this. I know that we're in WEEI, I believe, in Boston. So he's a Boston guy. I'm a Boston guy. So it worked out good. We're now the new Kings of Boston. So listen, before we went to break, you were talking about the Ric Flair. To finish up this thought.
Oh, yeah. You know, for me as a kid, as much as I hate how much, like you said, how much Hogan and Flair entangled rather than Flair Steamboat, I've always grown up a Ric Flair fan. He's been my idol my whole life. Mm-hmm.
It's weird that you show up in pink robes, though, to the studio. I wish you'd take them off.
You don't want me to take it off.
No, I really
Ric
don't.
Flair's my idol, so...
never mind.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, don't say no more. Say no, really.
Yeah, so, you know, I as a teenager, I had the chance to see a house show for WCW. It was Ric Flair's, I think his last title run, his last real title run. And he fought Hulk Hogan in a steel cage match as a heel. Mm-hmm. And Hogan doing was that short time Hollywood was a face.
Yeah.
And he beat Hulk Hogan in a steel cage match, pinned him 1, 2, 3. At a house show I went to, and I got to see Ric Flair successfully defend the world title against Hulk Hogan.
Was that the only time you've seen him?
Seen Flair?
Yeah.
No, but it's in that time frame of WCW was the only time you get to see him win.
Boy, I was probably 9, 10. I lived in Atlanta at the time. We went to the center stage where they used to film the Saturday night, and I remember meeting Lex Luger and Sting, and they came into the arena together, and I was just like, oh, and I shook his hand, and I swore I would never wash the hand, and I still haven't yet. So I'm 41 now.
Well, it happens.
Yeah.
You know, you can't let go of a dream.
One divorce later, it has nothing to do with the hand, by the way. So, man, what a great show. I got to tell people thank you guys so much. If you love wrestling talk, Russ and I, we do the show. You can listen to it over at WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com. There, myself and PD Williams from Impact Wrestling, we do another podcast. It's completely different from what you and I do.
Absolutely. And it's a great listen, guys. If you haven't been listening already, you're really missing out. Go back, check out the archives.
And I'll pay you for that plug. Thank you. And both shows wouldn't happen if it wasn't for BlueChew.com. We got to give them a big thank you. We are powered by Blue Chew. If you're listening and you want to support the show, more than anything, it's BlueChew.com. Use the promo code Perspective. You get your first order for free. You pay $5 shipping and handling. It helps us out a lot. We also have a T-shirt line, Russ. I don't know if you knew that.
I do know. We just haven't plugged it lately.
Well, let's do it. whatforapparel.com/WPP. Go there. We've got 2 or 3 different style shirts. I want to get the NWO one with the microphone.
Absolutely.
Oh, that is sexy. I want one.
I think you should drop it. If you make an order, drop an email. Tell them you want one with Russ's face on the front.
And we'll give you a shout out, by the way. If you buy a shirt, we will give you a shout out on either one of the 2 shows. So we appreciate you guys listening, downloading, subscribing to the podcast, the radio show, being a part. Russ, Mccall, thank you again for hanging out with us tonight.
Thanks for showing up almost on time.
Almost, yeah. We didn't even get the being late joke.
No, but it happened.
We'll make some more jokes later on the after show. But Wrestling Perspective, we'll see you guys next week.